once again. It is your boy coming at you with another review. NXT has just come and gone, and we got some more Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic stuff. We got an origin story that is really hard to follow, And then we got that NXT Women's title scene getting a little bit crowdy, if you know what I mean. I know you know what I mean. My name is Jordan Moser, and this is your NXT Recap and Review. First off, in the night from the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic in this quarterfinal matchup, we do got the Fury and the Furry, Drake Maverick and Killian Dane against the team of MSK. A nice little matchup here. We see Drake Maverick and Wesley with some good action to start, but Drake Maverick ain't no match for these boys. He can't really do anything. He's getting worked over. That's until Killian Dane gets into the matchup and he dominates, start taking them apart. It's really taking double team moves to keep him down for the most part at the beginning of this matchup, and even then he is still hulking up. Like, he's big body, like, he can't do nothing to me, like, look at you. He eventually, even going into the commercial break, just pushes Wesley off the top rope onto the floor below, which looked really painful, by the way. And then even when we come back from break, he is dominating just with the forearms that Lee is taking like death. Like, he looked out of it, really. But we do see Lee eventually takes over once Maverick gets into the matchup, and he tags Nash Carter, and he comes in, cleans house, fast-paced moves, stuff that's known for MSK. He eventually hits that moonsault. He pushed into the moonsault. It looks perfecto. It looks really good. That's eventually near the end of the match. They get Dane out of the ring, so he's out of the equation. Then they hit that elevated blockbuster for the 1-2-3 on Drake Maverick, and they are moving on into the semifinals of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. Really nice match here. Definitely thought that their match last week definitely played more to their strengths, just fast-paced. Swerve and Atlas could kind of match them in that aspect for the most part. Dane and Drake, they really don't do that because that's not their style. But even so, nice solid matchup. Definitely the right people came out on top, no matter how much I love Killian Dane and Drake Maverick and want to see them succeed. MSK is just coming in with a newfound fire just for this NXT Tag Team division. They're pretty much lighting it up. So I'm excited to see what they continue to do in this Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic and later on. But solid matchup between these two. Can't hate on it at all, and the right people won, of course. Next up, we do have a short little interview with Mackenzie Mitchell interviewing Kurt Stallion, the number one contender for the Cruiserweight Championship, and he's pretty much giving his origin story, talking about, hey, I saw a shooting star one day, and that's why I'm called the Lone Star, you dig? Honestly, a lot of what he was talking about, I was lost on. I didn't really understand it at all. But he's got a Cruiserweight title shot, or so we thought. He was eventually attacked backstage, presumably by Legado del Fantasma. That's what he said, Legado. So the match is pretty much just moved to next week. Yeah, I don't know what the purpose of that was. I guess just to make more time and just have a better match for the most part. But all in all, don't let Kurt Stallion talk. He's not a bad talker. It's just right here, it really confused me. I had no idea what he was talking about. Don't do that again, please. Thank you. Next up in the night from the Women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, we got the team of Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez against the team of Aaliyah and Jessica Maya. To simplify this match for you, when Dakota Kai was in the ring, everybody got offense. It was kind of spread around. When Raquel was in the ring, nobody got offense but her. That was it. That was pretty much the extent of what this match was. Pretty much just a showcase of Raquel Gonzalez, in my opinion. We do see the team of Aaliyah and Jessica Maya. They had a little nice chemistry. They had a couple tag team moves in and out during the match, but there was really nothing going for them for the most part. Aaliyah played it face in peril for the most part. She got a tag into Jessica Maya at the end, but that did not matter. No hot tag, nothing, because Rhea took her head off. Hit that choke slam for the 1-2-3 and the win. Like, she was not playing around. Like, even the stuff at the beginning where she was just grabbing Aaliyah by the hair and just like spinning her around, like stuff like that, like it really showed what Raquel Gonzalez can do. So this was pretty much just a showcase of that. But definitely the right team won. Aaliyah and Jessica Maya were more so filler for the tournament because they needed teams, in my opinion. But yeah, Raquel and Dakota looked really good here. They'll be moving on, and I can't wait to see what they do for the rest of the tournament. But yeah, this is pretty standard stuff, nothing too crazy or anything, but Raquel looked really, really good. Like, really, really good, yeah. Next up, we do have an interview from The Way and their newly minted t-shirts with the W on it. But Candice and Indy, they're just talking about moving on in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic for the women. And Johnny Gargano is like, hey man, don't say his name around me. Don't say Kushida's name around me, because of course he's beaten them twice, fluke victories according to Johnny Gargano. But he's like Voldemort. He's like, he who should not be named, don't say his name around me at all. But yeah, pretty clear that we're getting them for the North American Championship pretty soon, and I am fiending for that match. It should have happened like yesterday, so I'm waiting for that. And then we see Lumis eventually, when everybody leaves, just show up in the background. That'll eventually play on a little bit later, so we'll see what kind of happens a little bit later on with that, of course. Next up, we do have Tyler Russ pretty much going out there in a little bit of an extended squash and just crushing a young man's arms and his dreams by the last name of Rios, I believe. That's what I'm labeling him, because that's what I caught. He got a lot of good action in this match as well, just a lot of shine, but Tyler Russ eventually came out just with that Rings of Saturn submission, kind of trapping both of those arms and getting the tap out. But yeah, him and Malcolm Bivens, they're doing good work together. Definitely a good win to kind of elevate him a little bit up instead of last week where he got decimated by Bronson Reed. But it was just good, definitely what it needed to be, just in terms of an extended squash to kind of get his ball rolling a little bit. It was what it needed to be. Next up in the night, from the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, our second quarterfinal matchup, we got the grizzled young veterans against the team of Kushida and Leon Ruff. Gibson is out just before the match, just kind of talking, addressing the crowd. He is such a lovely man on the mic. His flow, his cadence, his voice. Oh my gosh, he's such a lovely man on the mic. But really technical start to this match for Kushida and Zach Gibson. There's actually one really cool part at the beginning of this match where Gibson was thrown into the turnbuckle and Drake comes over and just like puts his shoulder out, trying to prevent her from the blow of the turnbuckle, and then just has him goes back in and attack. That was just lovely tag team action. It really shows that they are actual veterans at this thing. But they weren't in control for long. We do see Ruff eventually tag in, and he's using his speed all over the place to just confuse James Drake in the ring. He eventually helps out Kushida in just like attacking both the arms and the legs of James Drake as well, and he eventually hits that beautiful cutter from the corner, which should be his finisher. I will continue to say it. And he hits that cutter going into the commercial break. Coming back from break, and Ruff is getting destroyed by the veterans. That's until he hits a leaping neck breaker and a little bit of an elbow to create separation. Gets the tag into Kushida, and he comes in flying. Just strikes, submissions. He's going for the hoverboard lock a couple of times. His run is eventually halted by Zach Gibson, just with a vicious chop to the throat. The GYV do hit a Doomsday device, only for a 2 count though. Kushida eventually does escape that, gets the tag back into Ruff, and he comes in flying. Like, this was a beautiful hot tag. Leon Ruff is not a jobber no more. Like, he is an established competitor here now. He's coming in flying, dives to the outside, all that. He eventually goes for a senton from the top rope onto Zach Gibson, and he misses that, unfortunately. Drake takes Kushida out on the outside, and that's when the GYV, they hit that Ticket to Mayhem. 1, 2, 3. They are advancing in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. They're moving up. They're kind of shadowing the trophy and stuff like that. And that's going to be mine soon. They will polishing it, having fun with it. We do eventually see Johnny Gargano and Austin Theory make their way out to attack Kushida and Leon Ruff and just stand tall. And then we see Dexter Lumis in the crowd just staring at them. Yep, just staring. He didn't do anything. He just like this. That's all he did pretty much. And Johnny Gargano, he didn't look scared, so that's comforting, because he didn't really do anything. But all in all, for the match, really good tag team match between these two. I really like Kushida and Leon Ruff as a team. Like, I hope they continue to team more in the future, because neither guy are really doing anything outside of the North American title scene, which Kushida, Johnny Gargano, please. But the right team did move on. GYV are definitely one of the more established teams that they have in all of WWE. So definitely just giving them the spotlight is really necessary. Please continue to give them the spotlight. But really good tag team match, and definitely the best one out of the night so far. And can't wait to see what they do in the next couple rounds, of course. Next up, we do get a bit of Tony talking time. She comes into the ring. She's talking about, hey, when I say something, I do it. Like that's what I do. I beat Rhea Ripley. I won the Mae Young Classic, and I would have won the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic if it weren't for Io Shirai. So you know what? I gotta come for you, sis. I gotta take your title, sis. That eventually brings out Io, and she's just like, you know what, I don't like you. I don't rock with you. They eventually begin to brawl. Io does get Tony outside of the ring to kind of stand tall, only for a moment because Mercedes Martinez is here as well, and she just attacks and takes out Io on the outside as well. She eventually raises the NXT Women's title, and Tony's like, man, what you doing? Like, that's for me. Like, you keeping it warm or something? They all three just eventually brawl throughout the ring. Tony eventually stands tall at the end of the segment, just holding up the title, but it looks like we got a triple threat looming coming in for our next takeover, which I'm confused about. Not that I hate the idea of the triple threat, but didn't Raquel Gonzalez like pin her in like War Games like a little bit ago, and then like win the last woman standing match against Ripley as well? Shouldn't she be positioned as the next challenger? You can kind of make of it what you will, but definitely looking forward to the triple threat that seems to be coming up at TakeOver. I can't wait to see what these three women can really do in the ring. Three of the best women's competitors in NXT, if not overall competitors, of course. So definitely looking forward to that as well. Next up, we get a short little video package from Imperium, kind of showcasing their dominance now that Alexander Wolf is back. Like, hey, we were gone. We were apart for like a year, but we still want the goal. Like, we still here. We ready to dominate, and I can't wait to see them dominate. Bring Walter too. Bring Walter with you, please. Like, do something. Bring them all together. We would love to see it. I'm definitely liking Imperium a little bit. Next up, we do have a match between Bronson Reed and Isaiah Swerve Scott. Thank you, Bronson Reed, for you got my message. You took that lizard off your neck. Thank you, Jesus, because that lizard on your joint last week, that was not working. Like, never do that again. But this is a really nice match. We saw both Reed and Scott kind of take control at the beginning. We see Reed inside the ring just showing off his strength for the most part, and Scott outside the ring just showing off his athletic ability. He actually like went through the ropes and just like did a handstand and landed back on his feet. I was like, oh my God, how'd he do that? But that was really nice. We see them battling. Reed hits a suicide dive, like through the ropes. Like, that's a thick boy flying. Like, we don't see nothing like that all the time. So that was pretty amazing to see just going into the commercial break. Coming back from break, and we do see Scott just wrenching and working on that arm of Reed, just trying to take away any of his strength. But he is a thick boy. There's only so much you can do because he eventually does take over, hits a senton, and will look like a Death Valley driver, only for a 2 count. He tries to go for some more offense, but his arm that was being worked on, it kind of gives out a little bit. That allows Scott to take advantage. He eventually hits a 450 splash from the top rope, only for a 2 count as well, and he looks befuddled that didn't get the job done. He's lifting him up. He's just talking trash to him. He's getting in his face like, stay out my business next time, bro. And Reed won't have that. He hits him with the headbutt, just eventually goes to the top rope, hits that tsunami splash, a 1-2-3, a win for the colossal Bronson Reed. Really nice action between the two. I like this little mini feud that they got going on. I'm kind of growing into liking Scott's heel character a little bit more, but Reed is definitely one of the more underrated people in NXT, in my opinion, and he's getting his shine and getting that rise. I love it. This is just nice action between the two. Really solid match. Nothing to go home about or anything like that, but both were used really well here. I really enjoyed it. And last up, in our main event, we do have the NXT Tag Team Champions, Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch, against the NXT Champion, Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly. Let me just say, both of these teams were like well-oiled machines in this match. Like, the tag team action was really just fluid. I think all four had really great chemistry together, and that really made this match come together a lot. Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly, they was working together really well. Kyle was clutching at his jaw a lot throughout the match to play on that. But they were pretty much in control for most of the beginning parts of the match, kind of going into the commercial break. Back from break, and it's actually Finn who is the face in peril and just getting worked over there, viciously destroying that arm of Finn Balor, just going on that arm wringer, submissions, everything of the like, just kicks to it. Like, they are destroying that arm. He eventually does get control, gets the tag to Kyle O'Reilly, and he comes in cleaning house, just strikes submissions. Kyle O'Reilly is one of my favorite wrestlers ever, if you did not know. So just watching him go to work is just amazing stuff. He really wasn't trying to stay for long. That's evident in the finish. We see Burch try to go off of the top rope after he just gives him a couple kicks to the jaw, but Kyle O'Reilly catches him in a knee bar, and Burch instantly taps out. Like, that's it. The team of O'Reilly and Finn Balor have beaten the NXT Tag Team Champions. So we'll see how that plays on a little bit later. But yeah, it was just a really sudden finish. Honestly, I didn't really expect it at all. He just like tapped out. I was like, oh, okay. I guess they got time restraints or something like that. We eventually do see, like, right after Pete Dunne shows up, starts beating up on the two men with Lorcan and Birch until Undisputed Era and Roderick Strong and Adam Cole do make their way to the ring before they can really do any more damage. And they're just staring at the ramp for a really long time. We eventually see all four of the men, Undisputed Era and Finn Balor, in the ring. We see Finn Balor kind of backs up a little bit, and they're all like lined up. They look like a little team, you know? And then Finn Balor's like, oh yeah, I don't got no friends. So he just kind of dipped out. He had friends for a second. For a quick second, he had a couple friends. But yeah, and then they're just doing the face-off just to stare down for the end of the show. And that is this week of NXT. Really good tag team match for the most part. The ending was really abrupt, and that kind of took away from it a little bit, but definitely good chemistry between the four guys. Definitely the angle at the end kind of pushes Pete Dunne as the next challenger for Finn Balor coming up in the next couple of weeks. We'll see how that kind of plays in, where Karrion Kross kind of looming in the background for the most part, but Pete will get that opportunity, and we'll definitely see how that match goes. Because last week, it was really playing up Pete Dunne. It was like, hey, he left this dude laying twice on one show. Like, he's the next guy. So we'll eventually see how that goes. But good tag team main event, and that is just a good episode of NXT. Really good action. I love the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic and just the great matches and solid matches that it provides. There's not a lot usually to kind of go home about or be really newsworthy about NXT, but it's always just a really solid show, really extensive stuff, and they're just moving all of their feuds along, going well into TakeOver. So this is just pretty awesome stuff for NXT this week. And that is going to be it from me. We just saw a lovely another episode of NXT, hopefully to go along with another lovely week of professional wrestling. Got the Royal Rumble coming up, so we all get excited. Just another week. Wrestling picks up this week. It's got to pick up this week. But definitely leave your comments in the chat, like, chat, subscribe, do everything you got to do. Tell your mama, tell your daddy, tell your dog, tell your dogs. But yeah, that's gonna be it from me. Definitely look out for more videos throughout the week. Contact us, love us. We want to hear from you. Like prayer requests, anything like that, any tips, definitely give them to us. We're happy to hear from y'all. But that's gonna be it from me. I'm out. Peace out. Y'all stay safe out there. Love God always, everything like that. Y'all be easy.